Welcome back to part two. As they have the summer break, so did we there slightly. Next race is Belgium. This is 5 weeks after 4 to 5 weeks. Sorry, I think it's 4 weeks after the Hungary Grand Prix is the Belgium Grand Prix at the famous Circuit de Spa. This has been the go. I can't remember how long it's going on for years anyway. I think since the 60s and 70s. Vettel won this race last year, and here we have an image of the famous Eau Rouge circuit, corner, should I say. You see the cars come up to it. I don't think even at F1 cars got pictures. I think it actually might be touring cars or whatnot. But it's very famous, this circuit, because of this corner, due to that very tight left hand corner, and then you take you have a pedal steeply uphill, where you take another tight a blinding left corner there at high speeds. Quite spectacular to watch, but probably quite scary if you're of a nervous disposition if you're in a car. On the week after Belgium, we have the Italian Grand Prix, which is the third of the Grand Prix that have been in the calendar since 1950, at the Autodromo di Monza. Italians love the Formula 1 and are massive Ferrari fans. So Ferrari have to be winning, nothing else matters. Sebastian Vettel won this race last year, saying that in the Red Bull, which would not have, and he'd actually overtook Alonso, who was in the lead at 1 point, so I don't think he would have been very happy. Here we have the Marina Bay Street Circuit in Singapore, which is the site of the first ever night race that F1 ever held in 2008, which was won by Alonso. Controversy now, due to that at the time that his teammate, this is when he was at Renault, shall I say, his teammate was told to deliberately crash the car to get the safety car out, so which would aid Alonso. Just to say, Alonso didn't know about this. That came out 2 years after he won, I think, maybe a year or two. But last year, though, Sebastian Vettel actually won the race again. Here we have a very bad image, I'm so sorry for this, of Suzuka. It's a Japanese Grand Prix, which is another old race. This has been the scene that we held on the 7th of October, should I say. This has been the scene of many World Championship deciders, most famously the Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost deciders of 88, 89 and 90. But it's been a lot before and after since then been decided. But due to the number of newer races, it's been pushed far up the calendar, so the likelihood of a World Championship being decided here is unlikely. Saying that, though, last year it did have, Sebastian Vettel did clinch his second World Championship at this circuit. It was also won by Jenson Button, which is quite emotional for him, because his girlfriend's Japanese, and it was the first Japanese Grand Prix held since disaster last year, which is actually today a year's anniversary. So heartfelt goes to all those people who obviously lost their lives, and also those who are trying to rebuild their lives. But it was last year's Grand Prix was quite emotional because Jenson Button does a lot for the Japanese, and it wasn't going to be a Japanese driver who won that race. They wanted him to win the race, so hopefully I'll give him a small tinge of joy. It's been a very difficult year for the Japanese people. Here we have the Korean Grand Prix. It's very easy to pronounce, Korea International Circuit. This is going to be now the third year they have hosted it. There was a bit of a doubt about this race due to the event organisers wanting to negotiate the contract with Bernie Ecclestone, the F1 chief, but he was saying he's not up for negotiation. So there was fears that he actually would have pulled the race if they weren't prepared to comply. But they've had a truce for now. There's still doubts over the circuit for 2013, but for now it's on the calendar anyway for this year. Once again, Vettel won the race. Surprise, surprise. Indian Grand Prix. As should say as well, Korea was actually the site of Red Bull winning the second Constructors' Championship. This is the Indian Grand Prix at the Bood, the National Circuit in New Delhi. It was the first race last year, which was won by Sebastian Vettel. That's not Sebastian Vettel though. That's actually Lewis Hamilton, I think, in the foreground there, with the colourful Indian F1 supporters in the background. Here we have the Abu Dhabi circuit in the Jans Marina circuit. It's been on the go since 2009, and it's the only Grand Prix that starts off at daylight and finishes in the evening time with darkness. That's going to be held on the 4th of November. Last year it was Lewis Hamilton who had actually won this race. He seems to like the circuit. He actually got pole in this race in 2009, and he only had retired due to mechanical problems with brakes that year, and the year after he came second. Last year he actually won the race. It's been a lot of talk how interesting this race appears, and it's not. So they've been actually talking about reconfiguring the circuit to make it more easier to watch in the eye, so to speak. Here we have the American circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. This is actually a model. A graphic model isn't of the actual circuit because it hasn't been constructed properly yet. This is a massive doubt about this. End of last year it came to light publicly that there had been infighting, not infighting maybe, but certainly problems internally in the management of the construction of this. It's quite complicated. Well, I don't know if it's complicated. I'm not really interested in that side of the F1, the political side. But it does seem to be, by reading like bits and bobs here, there's going to be a lot of doubt if this race will actually go ahead. If it does, this will be the first US Grand Prix since 2007, which was held in Indianapolis, and won by Lewis Hamilton. That was the last ever US Grand Prix, was 5 years ago. There is going to be another US held race in 2013 in New Jersey. The hope was going to be that they're having 2 American Grand Prix, but at the moment there's a massive doubt about just the one, so we'll have to wait and see. If it does get hosted, it'll be hosted on the 8th of November. Now, here we have the Brazilian Grand Prix, which is the last race of the season, which is on the 25th of November at the Autodromo José Carlos Pace in Sao Paulo. This has been the go since 1973, officially, but it was in 1972 a race here. It wasn't included as an official FIA F1 World Championship race for whatever reason. I don't know, I wasn't born then, not that old. It's a 71 lap race, which is 106 kilometers race length. It was also the site of the last 2 British drivers to win World Championships, Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button. And that is the last race of the season, and hopefully a title side again this year.